Welcome ladies and gentlemen, Tactical Lich here. Today we are on round 6 of the BBB Season 1 multiplayer tournament, where we are seeing a Tree Tone playing as the Norscans and Fat Kid as Recess playing as the Tomb Kings. So for army builds, we have a full front line of Marauders backed up by Marauder Hunters. They are the Throwing Axes version, and on the flank here a concentrated forces of Skin Wolves, providing a lot of anti-large fighting power, supporting a Shaman Sorcerer of Death and the Marauder Chieftain. On the other side, we have a front line of Skeleton Spears backed up by Nekara Warriors. In the front, a skirmishing force of Skeleton Horse Archers and a single Tomb Scorpion. Further back, the Tomb King's anti-large solution, the Necro Sphinx, accompanied by a Necrotact providing healing for the Tomb King's construct. With 2 uses of Restore, he can heal up a significant portion of the Necro Sphinx HP. While the leadership would be the very staple choice Arkan the Black with his Skeleton Summon, Spirit Leech, and also Fate of Buna. And that's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle started. The Norscans definitely want to get into melee as soon as possible and start their charge on the Rage ability. While on the flanks, the Skin Wolves and the Ice Wolves will be circling around, hoping to hit up the backline of the Tomb Kings, but unfortunately for them, there is no backline, just a lot of melee troops. While over here, Arkan seems to be overextending here, now being caught up by Marauder Chieftain and the 2 Skin Wolves. Being hit by a Spirit Leech as well, he will be in great trouble, but he does have Skeleton Summons in his back pocket, so that is something that can bail him out of the situation, plus his heavy armor and also the incoming regeneration from the Realm of Souls abilities. That should keep him alive for now. While the Necro Sphinx trying to support his Leash Lord, but unfortunately pinned down by the Skin Wolves. This is not a great engagement for the Skin Wolves due to the anti-large of the Necro Sphinx and the healing available if the Necrotech gets in range. While in the front line, the Skeleton Spears and the Nekara Warriors are engaging the Marauders here. The Nekara Warriors should be able to do fine against the Marauders due to their great attacking stats and bonus versus infantry. But with all these units tied down by the Marauders, some of them should peel off and start pressuring the Marauder Hunters, as there's only a single Tomb Scorpion here trying to disrupt the Marauder Hunters, and that is far from enough, while the Hunters can freely chuck their throwing axes into any units at their disposal. Now, back to the blob fight here. There's a whole lot of action going on as the Skin Wolves are tying down the Necro Sphinx, while the Ice Wolves are swarming all those Skeleton Horse Archers. They do have quite a good speed at 95, while the Skeleton Horse Archers only have, well, at only 53 now. Even with no Frostbite slowing them down, they still only have 76 speed, which is far from enough to outrun the Norscan doggos. Now the monster showdown between Tomb Kings and Norscan has devolved into a massive brawl between the Necro Sphinx and a whole lot of Norscan Skin Wolves. The Necro Sphinx is taking a lot of anti-large damage, but somehow he's not doing much in return. But with the Construct's heavy armor and possible healing from the Necrotact, he should still be able to hold on. The main problem is here, Arkan the Black trying to run away from the blob fight, but instead being caught by the anti-large Skin Wolves. And unfortunately, this Tomb King character has used up all his healing, since there is an Ushabti summon, meaning that the Realm of Souls abilities have hit the 3rd stage, and there's no more activation of healing. While in the front line, things seems to be going okay for the Tomb Kings, as the Nekara Warriors and Skeleton Spears manage to push into the backline, pressuring the Marauder Hunters. But the Tomb Scorpion is on the edge of crumbling to dust, since it has taken too much damage from the Hunter's crossfire. An even bigger problem is Arkan the Black is on his last legs. His HP is dropping lower and lower under all the constant Spirit Leeches and anti-large damage from the Skin Wolves, while the Necro Sphinx and all other supporting units are too far to help him. The Necro Sphinx heal cap is in sight due to all the healing coming from the Necrotact here. As you can see, both uses of Restore has been dumped onto the Construct, keeping it alive, but despite doing massive damage to the Skin Wolves, he has also been taking massive damage in return. The only thing keeping him going really is just the healing. Now on the far side, Arkan the Black has been finished off, while the Nekara Warriors, who are trying to reinforce the backline here, is charged by Norscan Ice Wolves. The big dog units are just really effective in the current meta right now, with massive charge impact, making them very effective in psycho charging, especially against any light armored units. At this point, the Skin Wolves have been fighting long enough to activate their rage, giving them additional melee stats and physical resistance. Though the Necrotact has activated his item, applying that blind effect and lowering their melee stats. With Arkan gone, the next Spirit Leeching target is the Necro Sphinx. After suffering consistent anti-large damage from the Skin Wolves and now the additional Spirit Leeching damage, the Great Construct collapses onto the ground. And there's really nothing else the Tomb Kings can do to turn this battle around. The Necro Warriors might be able to beat Marauders, but there's just too much stuff to kill. Army losses is hit and the entire Tomb King army will be crumbling to dust. First of all, GG to both Treetone and Fatkit as Recess. Now for the army performances, you can see that the Skin Wolves didn't do much damage overall despite fighting for the whole time as they were surrounding a heavily armored Tomb King's construct. Only this one Skin Wolf earned back their value and they themselves took a lot of anti-large damage in return. The healing from the Necrotact plus the Realm of Souls did keep the Necrosphinx fighting for a prolonged period of time despite surrounded by anti-large combatants and being drained away by Spirit Leech. Unfortunately though, Arkan the Black being caught out by the Skin Wolves basically cost the Tomb Kings the game, cutting off a lot of supporting abilities from the Tomb Kings army, as well as losing that leadership, making the Tomb Kings army crumble a lot sooner. Now for the rest of the army, the Ice Wolves did some pretty nice damage. One of them ran down a lot of those Skeleton Horse Archers and limiting their skirmishing damage value, basically shutting down the slower Skeleton Cavalry and their firepower. Now for the Marauder Infantry, didn't do much as they did not have a favorable trade against the Nakara Warriors, and that's it for the main army, while Shaman Sorcerer of Death, the major damage dealer on the Tomb King's army against all the single entities including Arkan the Black and the Necrosphinx. The Marauder Chieftain got beaten up by the Necrosphinx, so not much to say about him. For the Tomb King's army, really only the Necrosphinx was doing enough damage to carry the game. The rest of the army not so much. Nekara Warriors managed to cut through the Marauders, but unfortunately being shot up by the throwing axes, they took a lot of damage, while the Skeleton Horse Archers, we covered them already. Skeleton Spears, well, they're just Skeleton Spears, so again, not much to talk about them. Tomb Scorpion, not a bad pick if you want to disrupt enemy backline, but there's only one unit in the entire army here, while the crossfire from all those throwing axes can easily focus him down. So overall, I would say that there is some adjustments can be made to the Tomb King's armies, for example, cutting out the Skeleton Horse Archers since they cannot outskirmish the Norscan with their Warhound and also Ice Wolf spam. Switching it to something say like Tomb Gods for the anti-large fighting power would probably be more appropriate. And that's it for this Norscan vs Tomb King battle, the second battle of the series. Now let us move on to two other battles of the best of 5 between Treetone and Fatkit as Recess. The next two battles are very straightforward. This time, Treetone going for Dark Elves and Fatkit at Recess going for High Elves. You might already spot an issue in the High Elves army composition with the infantry going full missiles. While this might be a great tactic in campaign and also in this current meta, the High Elf archers are indeed very strong, especially with Lothran Seaguard able to function as a melee infantry as well. But the thing is, a balanced army build is still necessary in a multiplayer setting. Without dedicated melee infantry, there is simply not enough resources to protect the archers from the enemy melee troops. Even if the archers did some initial shock damage against the enemy infantry, once they get caught in melee, even the Lothran Seaguard will not trade cost effectively against enemy dedicated melee troops. Once the missile lines got silenced, there is nothing to support Imrik and the Dragon Princes, allowing the Dark Elves to pick them off one after the other. What we are on now is the third and final battle between Treetone and Fatkit at Recess. This might be a spoiler, but if you see the army build of the Dawi army which is led by Fatkit at Recess, you might already guess how this battle will end. Once again, he is going for an overwhelming force of missile infantry, including a bunch of Quarrelers and Rangers. This might be a good idea in Game 2 where martial prowess was crap and white lands were overpriced, so the High Elves would go for chariots plus either elite infantry like swordmasters or a bunch of archers. With the chariots being bugged, the crossbows could have dealt with either of the High Elf builds, but unfortunately, White Lions is the most popular and solid High Elf unit currently. Despite the High Elf archers losing the initial missile fight, all Treetone had to do was just march the White Lions into combat and they will get the job done. Especially with their heavy armor and missile resistance helping them mitigate a lot of the damage coming from the Rangers and Crawlers. In the end, Treetone was able to secure victory in this best of 5 with a 3-victory clean sweep. Fat Kid at Recess definitely had some interesting army ideas that I can see them working in specific scenarios. However, they are a little bit too specialized, leaning on a certain component of the army, making them less versatile and less adaptable to other scenarios. Some adjustments and fine-tuning to these army builds would definitely be beneficial. Anyways, that is it for today's series between Tree Tone and Fat Kid at Recess. Congratulations to Tree Tone for winning this best of 5, and we'll be showcasing more tournament battles from the Total Warhammer multiplayer scene in the future. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for new video uploads. That's it for today, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.